Okay. I got some nice flat black paint to paint this plate. Okay, now we can put it up here. Attach it to the pin block. Okay, here we go. Raise it up. Move this there, and here we go. Ready. Get a couple of bolts. They are ready. They're right there. One there. Good, sure. And one here. Okay. Yeah. Damage everything. Thread it in. Not very well. Okay, got that there. Here, support this a little bit for me. I'm gonna put these. Well, no, can't have those. You gotta slip the plastic in, so I'm gonna put some more of these. These are in order also. I don't think they would match. They go in good. These are threaded into that steel plate below. Alright, what we're doing now is we have a plastic template to put over this, and we're going to mark these, hopefully. Now we have our plastic thing, wherever it is. Yes, of course it did. Okay. You can tell some of these are a little close. See, they made a dent in the plate here. There, and over there. These pins are so close. I wish the factory had put them a little further away, so that's what we're doing. We're going to place this plastic template on here, and then we're going to mark the pin block for drilling. Okay, so that's it. That's what we're going to do. Okay, laying our paper plastic pattern in place here. It looks really good. And here's one of the originals. Caps. It's shrunk this way. It's not the original dimensions. It's at least 2 millimeters wider everywhere. But we have, this is the original. And if there's any question as to how they did things, everything looks good down here. Everything looks good everywhere except here. And here is the original mark of this strut on this piece of wood. Look at how close. Look at how close this is. It's ridiculously close. Unacceptable. Can't get the tools or the wire between it, and you damage up the plate to boot. But you can see that tuning pin was right up against that strut, and so was this one here. That one. So we're going to move these over a little bit. We have room between this pin and this one here. All three of these can move over this way just a little bit. You don't want the wires from this pin to touch the wire on this pin. Can't move it over, just hodgepodge. It's got to be done. Oh, and this one too. Same thing. Huh. Oh, the people stringing this piano must have been cursing also. On deaf ears. Anyways, here's our agraffs are lining up. We got these holes all seated, and we'll see. Okay, let's mark this pin block. Okay. Oh, it's marking where the holes have to be drilled. Here we go. We made this little thing here, custom made piece of steel, and we have a piece of it here to hold up the plastic off the surface, because you got to be able to find the center of the hole like so, and make sure it's stable right there, and then you just give this a little pick. Make sure this is in the middle of the hole right there. A little pick, and of course we're going to have to move these over just a little bit. The ones that are against the plate here. In the center, and then mark. So we're not going to make a video of me making all of these, because that would take too long. That's enough. I'm going to do that 250 times. So agraffs, and more agraffs. These are the ones that I have. These two rows are the ones I have fitted for these two rows up here. And what I'm doing is reaming out the holes where I have to, so that they turn to 11 o'clock, just before where they need to be, and they're in the ballpark. They're in a rough spot here, and then we got to put the plate in the piano. But see here, one just busted off. Oh, I hate that when that happens. This is when you test if they're going to break off or not. It's got some. You look at these castings, these brass things here, and you can see there was dark spots. It was cracked for a long time probably. But this is how we test to see if they're going to break. You give them the torque test here with this tool, and they have to stop just before where they have to be, and the rest is just by feel. You have to turn. You know, you could take this handle and just twist these right off. They're like crayons if you want, but you got to feel them, and they bottom out and they kind of squish into place, and you stop there. That's good enough. But you see, I have to take a little more metal off the bottom here, either off the Agraffe or machine it out of the plate itself, just a minute amount. But right now I got to get that out of there. Got to get my drill guide again. Pain in the neck. 2 in a row. That's unusual. I have had it happen to me though before. Give it the installation force that you need, and it just snaps right off, like I said, like wax crayon. There was no effort to break those off. So it's always a good test when you give it a good force it into place. If it breaks off, it's going to break off now, and it did. 2 of them in a row. Hopefully that won't happen again, but I got a bad feeling about it. It just might. I got all those to go. Agraffe installation. Not so easy. First of all, we have a little reamer here. See that dirty hole? This goes in here, and very gently, you can actually see the brass flying out. Very gently spin it. Clean the hole nice and clean, like so, on both sides. You can see the brass coming out. Doesn't go to the middle. Doesn't make the hole bigger, but just clears out the surroundings. It does a nice job of cleaning the hole out. It's perfect condition inside there. I don't think I've hardly ever seen a bad Agraffe unless somebody abused it. Taking the wires out of the piano and not being careful, and they damage the hole. But if you're careful, you can get them out like this. And these have been cleaned. They're soaked in ammonia, and we clean the threads and all that happened before. Now, they're 150 years old, so we're going to give them a break. So let's put one in. And see, I've already reamed out the hole a little bit. We have a tool here, of course, that we do that with. A little cutter to surface the seat. Now let's see where it goes. We'll see if it lines up with our string here. Chances are it won't. There was a lot of crud in these holes. Dirt, coffee, dust, and more dust, crud craft in here. So all the crud has been removed. Now see, it doesn't want to turn to the 12 o'clock position in line with the rope. It just won't. And if I try to do this, it'll break right off. From experience over the years. There, see that? It stopped there. If I continue, it will snap the Agraffe right off, just like this one did in the other video. So we'll take this out of here, and we'll do a little surfacing of the seat a little more. Put our pilot in. A little drill bit that fits in there good tight. And then this goes on top of here. There's a hole in there, see? To line this up. Just take a little bit off. Carefully. Take our hand tool, which is a nice little cutter. Goes in here. Just smoothing it out. There we go. Any little debris that's in the way could be a problem. Let's see what position this will bring the Agraffe in. Yes, it takes a while. You get used to it after a while. You know just how much to machine it down like that, see? It's almost going to stop in that position, but I got to be careful. You know, you can damage the threads in here by trying to force this down. So you have to let it come against a force. See, it's just not enough yet. One more
one more time. If I go the rest of the way, I risk breaking that agraff off. So, see, it's stuck in there now. Good, solid. So I'm going to take a little bit more off so I can rotate it a little bit more. There's another way too. I made that tool here, but I don't need it here. The agraff is very clean. This is for leveling the agraff. You can actually take a little metal off with these two files here that I put on this piece of aluminum. So we don't need that right now. What we need is this. A little bit. Now let's try it now. Should be good. This is our last single. Now we'll have all the singles in. 17 note bass. 9 singles. Pretty modern, you know. I mean, these guys were the leaders in this modern stuff. Oh, look, see, we're going to rotate. We'll be able to do it now. Just got to feel it. If it stops there, and it stops past. Check that out. So I jam it down tight, it goes past the point. And that's problematic. So what we got to do is we got to put a shim under here. Luckily I have them. And a shocker to most people. I use paper shims, balance rail punchings under here. Believe me, it has been a savior. Because these metal shims are a real pain to put under here. It's just almost impossible. I don't have all those shims. I don't know if you can even get them. They have to be the right diameter. They're custom made. So I got desperate one day and I started using these about 30 years ago. And they work wonderful. Now watch this. Now when we put this down, I could put a thinner one. I should have started with a green punching. They got different thicknesses. Blue, pink, they're all color coded for the thickness. So anyway, when it starts to sock down tight, right there, see, it's starting to resist. And I'm afraid to turn it. I should have put, see that? If I go any more, I could break that agraff off. Oh, I won't go anymore. So I'm going to have to back it off and put a thinner punching over here. Darn it, I should have guessed. I usually start with the thinner ones because if you need a thicker one, well, anyway, let's take this out of here. This is what I got to go through every time. You know, everybody thinks you just take them out the cardboard and you put them back in. Oh, no, 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 no. There was hours and hours of preparation to get to this point. It had to be cleaned. All these holes were cleaned with vinegar and air gun and steel brush and scraping the paint. This is going to be finished after. Okay, let's see what this green one does. And much to the shocker of all the piano people, yes, I use a paper shim. I've never had an agraff break. And there's a, oh, see, it's going to resist right there. Oh boy, it's getting tight. You don't want, it's getting real tight. It's not up to the position yet. That's perfect. See that? I want that to sock down, and when it gets to the position, the right position, right there, a little bit more. That is tight. Well, I wouldn't go any more than that. And after which we just tear this paper out around the edges like this, see? And then we're done. There's one more thing I have to admit, or mention. As of late, past few years, I've been taking a little super glue and putting a drop right there. It soaks in that paper punching. and just, I've never taken one out. And like I said, I never had one break, but it just seems to be a little extra under there. And hardens that paper. Rock hard. So we'll do the rest of them now. I got to clean up a little bit here on this one. It's got a dirty spot right there. Just polish that a little bit with some steel wool, and then it'll look pretty. Now we're into the doubles. The bicors. Got to make sure I got them in right order. You know, the holes get bigger as you go down sometimes, and a little farther apart. I got to make sure these came out of this piano. Yeah, so they should go back in nice. These are the original for this unit. Okay.
I think it's a loud piece like that that really shows the differences between an old piano like this 1850s era Chickering piano and a new piano like a new Steinway D or a new Hamburg D or a new Bosendorfer 280 or a Fausili F308, which is a 10-foot piano, but it's still an awesome concert grand size piano.
He doesn't know what the heck he's talking about, so let's come over here.
Because when I play this piano,
this is what we got to do now. I had a defective agraff.
But when I go to play it,
that's why we check them very carefully before we put them in. This actually looks like a factory screw up in here. It's hard to tell, but the holes are not correct. And we got to find some. I think I'm going to take it from this set here. This is from the scale 19, and we have to select 2 of these for putting them in. Well, there's that piano. You hear the guy blabbing in the back, but this is 1867, and this is an older piano than what's in that video, because see, it has the individual loops field all the way down for the strings, and this is the problem I got right now. Well, it's not a big problem. I got extras. Here are the extras. We'll be putting them in. We need 3 of them. You can see it's going well. Until I get in this section, we'll see. We'll have problems up here too, but that's what I'm going to do now. And they all looking good. These are all set. All in line with the strings, and they're in there tight. I should probably do another little demo on how these go in. See how this one here is reseated. Cleaned up the seat with that tool they have. And I feel better doing that because it makes a nice flat spot for the agraff to sit in. Okay, let's do it.
Thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.
Okay, I hope this works. Hope you can see. We had 3 missing agraffs here. One of them had defective holes that I discovered. I don't know if it was from this piano or from the scale 19. I don't remember. But anyways, we have quite a selection here. Here's some nice ones that I just cleaned up. I just might use some of these. I look at the condition of the plating on them. This one looks pretty good. We just cleaned this one up and it worked really well, and it's now in position. So I have quite a few here. These are kind of dirty. I just might see, they were gold plated, these here. That's what I think. That's what else. But when you gold plate brass or copper, the metals leach into each other. The brass will taint the gold, and it's probably why these are this unusual color. They don't look gold plated, but they are not brass. There is a coating on these, and it's very thin, and it's a very interesting in that the gold coating might prevent or slow down the dezincification process which occurs in brass alloys between copper and zinc to make brass. Now, the atmospheric conditions which these exist in over the years has an effect on this dezincification process. And I wonder if they knew that back then. They must have. All these brass things, like old brass lanterns, and especially the brass lanterns, they split. The brass actually shrinks and cracks and gets brittle. And I wonder if this gold plating, not only does it look good, but it may have retarded that dezincification process by keeping the atmosphere off of the metal. That is one possibility. I'm not sure. But for sure, you can see how they sparkle. Very nice. I think I'll use some of these, one of these here. This is very nice. And what we do is this, see, you gotta take this, whoops, not this, wrong tool, wherever it is, it's here somewhere. Oh, here it is. Here we go. That's how we find the bad holes. You clean them up like that, and they shine nice. Make sure that the hole is clean, like so. That's how I found the defective agraff. The holes were not correct. Something funky about them, so we're not going to use that agraff. So I needed a replacement, and here is a replacement. And now we take a little steel wool and clean the rest of it up. It's very gentle. I kind of like these gold-plated agraffs. They clean up nice, and they're not all corroded like the brass ones we get that have similar abuse. And clean up this top part here. Oh, that shines up nice. Well, it's not perfect. It's 150 years old, but it's acceptable for this purpose. And of course we shine up in here. Little steel wool. These places. There, not too bad. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. We want it perfect. We'd have to resurface all this metal. Then have them plated. And then be real careful putting them in. But we're not going to do that. And plating gets in the holes. And the plating houses that are out there today just suck. You can't get anything done right. If I sent these out to a plater, they'd be ruined. Sorry to say, but it's true. I've had it happen. So we're going to clean these up nice like so. Just like that. Not bad. Not bad for a 150-year-old agraff. It's pretty good. Filthy. And wait, now we take this tool that we have here and make sure our seating is correct. So that does a nice job. It levels the seat. Nice and clean. Let's see where it goes now. What position it's going to be in. We don't know. This agraff comes from another piano. Boy, they match nice though. Oh, we're lucky. Lucky we got that. Okay, let's bring this down. So the holes have been cleaned. The agraff is clean. Now let's see where it comes to position. Oh, look at this. Oh, no. It's going to go by it. See that? few degrees. So we're going to need a shim. We'll put a blue one under there. And much to the shock of the piano world, I think I explained it once before, paper shim. A balance rail punching is ideal because you have different thicknesses, and a blue one will hopefully turn this in the right direction. Gotta get it started through the paper. There we go. And you don't want to cross thread them. That's why we ran a tap down every one of them first. Tap the hole, make sure the threads are clear of gunk and stuff, coffee. Okay, see, it's going to come and starting to tighten up good and tight here in this position. Very tight. In fact, so tight, if I just crank it down, I risk breaking the agraff off. So we're just going to smush it in place and then come back. Smush it. That goes a little further. Now let's get our string on the right note so we don't get it in the wrong position. Number 8. This is the one. We have to rotate it. And if that blue punching is too thick, we're going to have to take it out and put in. Oops, look at that. It's amazing. The paper seems to smash in between. And when you go back like this, it seems to like make it able to turn into, see that, into position. Now if you break the agraff off, well, that's too tight. There we go. There we go. That's perfectly square with the string. So now on to another one. Last one in this section. That's good.